Hey everyone, what's up? Well, I am going to make a video right now, obviously, and this is a video that I literally just thought to make up on the spur of the moment, and it's going to be a review, which is something I know I have not done in a long, long, long time. But I'll cut to the chase here. This is going to be a review of something that I just played. It's a review of a game that I am really looking forward to the release for. Um, might as well get something to show. One second. Okay. Even though this game came out a long time ago, I recently got it, I think sometime last week, and I'm really, really kicking myself for missing out on this awesome game when it first came out. And that game is none other than Dead Space. And you may know where this is headed. This is not going to be a review of Dead Space, like the game itself, because I'm pretty sure a review of that would just be kind of pointless at this point. Um, what I recently just played, however, was the demo for Dead Space 2 on the Xbox Live Arcade. I had just recently finished beating this on impossible difficulty, which I must say, starting at about chapter 9, started becoming really, really difficult. Um, so I wanted to check out the Dead Space 2 demo and see if it would be any good. I mean, I was sure it would be. So I downloaded it. It was a pretty big demo too. It was like 1.23 gigs, and I don't really download demos that often, but I mean, I think for a demo that's pretty huge. I mean, I only really see downloads that big for certain like downloadable content, like the most recent two Borderlands DLC were both like 1.3 something gigabytes. Anyway, but I mean that's like whole downloaded episodes, not just a demo. So if the demo for Dead Space 2 is this big, then I can only imagine how big the actual full game is going to be. Um, but anyway, so I played it through. It's only a little, it's only a little bit of one level you play through, and there were a lot of things about it I really liked, but there were some things about it that I really did not like. One thing about it I hated, and I will get to that last. And I really, really, really hope that this was just I mean, being a demo, the game was obviously in its test running stages, but I really hope that EA, if that's who makes, yeah, Electronic Arts fixes this anomaly before the final project or product rather gets released on shelves on the 25th, I believe it is. But first, here's the good things. Number one, Isaac Clarke, the new character, or the new character, his main character, his new design looks really really good. His suit looks cool. His health bar has kind of like this lattice design on it, which I have to say looks really really cool. Um, there are how many new enemies you see? Remember there was one, two, three. I want to say three new enemies in this demo. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was three. The new enemies that you see are really surprising, especially one who I thought was just your regular slasher, which is the most basic enemy from Dead Space One, until it did something that I completely did not expect. And I'll get to the enemies in a minute. First, I'll get to the pros. Graphics on it look really really cool. The atmosphere, of course, is really good. I mean, being a survival horror game that's based all the way in, as the name implies, space, it would have to look good, and I think it does. One funny thing I really noticed, a friend of mine pointed this out to me, and I really noticed it when I watched the video of the demo last night. The level you play on the demo, especially when you look out the window and you see the entire city, you're on a space city called the Sprawl, and it reminds you of if you're a Star Wars fan, you will instantly think Coruscant. I mean, the lit hallways, the red carpet, the fancy looking desks, the huge planet wide cityscape, or at least as far as the cities you can see. I mean, it just right away in my head, I was like, oh, that is Coruscant. But, full of dead things looking to slash you in half. Anyway, so graphic wise, it looks really cool. The lighting is really scary, and all the encounters I had. There's a new area. You go into a church area in the level, huge like cathedral, very very scary experience. That's by far where your biggest battle takes place too. Slight spoiler for the demo. Um, you start off the demo with four guns. One of three of which you already know what they are: the plasma cutter. Everyone obviously knows what that is. The pulse rifle and the line gun. And you start off with one new gun, which had to have been the best one in your arsenal because when you go to the store, the gun is already worth 25.5 thousand credits, whereas all the other ones are only worth 1,000, 3,500, or 4,500. And this new weapon is called the Javelin gun. And oh my god, is it cool. It only has, I'm pretty sure this is when it's, hasn't been upgraded at all. It only has 5 shots in its clip, I guess it's called. You can call it a clip or magazine. It fires this javelin, obviously, that shoots into the enemy and pushes them all the way back to a nearby, to whatever wall or pole is behind them, and just impales them there. And if you press the secondary fire function, the javelin that impaled them becomes electrified and just like shocks their body from the inside out. I mean, it is insane. I can see why it was worth so much because it's pretty much a one-shot kill if you hit the enemy, which I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna love it because of the javelin. You don't have to hit the enemy in the legs or the arms or the head. You can shoot him in the body. It'll pin him to a wall either way and just fry him to death just like that. It's amazing. So that one new weapon, I can only imagine how many new weapons there are going to be. If there's going to be the same amount of weapons in Dead Space 2 as there were in the first one, which I believe was 7, I would hope that they would replace some weapons. I mean, if they're not going to add to the repertoire of weapons, I would hope that they would replace some of them. Like, my two least favorite weapons in Dead Space 1 had to be the flamethrower, because it just took way too much ammo to kill anything with it, and the contact beam. The contact beam disappointed me big time. The secondary fire mode in that thing where he puts the gun barrel on the ground and like creates this huge shockwave was pretty cool. But I mean, other than that, I didn't like it. The only two weapons I used on impossible mode were the plasma cutter, obviously, and the pulse rifle. It's always good to have a fully automatic with you, and it's pretty powerful as well. So we have that to look forward to. The enemies that we saw. The first one you see, and these are just my own names, and if these are really the real enemies' names, I will laugh at the fact that I guessed their names right. Of course, they're probably on the Dead Space wiki by now. I could probably just look them up like that. But there's one that I'm calling the Puker. That sounds pretty self-explanatory, I would hope. It looks like a slasher, but instead of just bum rushing you and trying to slice you or strike you, it keeps its distance and it vomits on you. And here's the really freaky thing: even if the thing is decapitated, it can still vomit on you. And that's gonna be my major surprise. At first, I thought I had delimbed a slasher, and then it was like shooting vomit at me. And I was like, "What is this?" And it kept just vomiting on me and vomiting on me and vomiting on me. So I was using my med packs to heal myself before I died, and I was like, "Oh, that must be a new enemy." Then the second new enemy you see. Well, actually, this one's the third. The second one's by far the most epic one, so I'll save that one for last. The third one are basically human infants. Now, I know people who've played Dead Space will probably instantly think, oh, the lurkers, right? The little mutated babies who walked on all fours, had 3 giant tentacles grow out of its back and shoot projectiles at you. No. These may still be lurkers. I don't know. They may have just completely redesigned the lurkers. But they are just babies, and instead of shooting, projectiles out of tentacles, they don't have tentacles. All they do is they bum rush you and jump on you. Good thing is, though, bad news is there's a ton of them. They like swarm you. Good news is one shot from anything and they're pretty much dead. So they're not too bad. At least they weren't in the demo. Now the second new enemy you see, but which is by far the most epic one, I don't even have and the name I'm giving to the little baby thing is be like Rusher or Runner, or I don't know, maybe Scurry or something like that. But this big, huge enemy, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a mixture of several different enemies all at once. Let's see. The Leaper, which was the enemy in Dead Space 1 that had like 2 arms and that little tail that it lifts you with because it looked like one. Just huge. Like massive. A Brute, just because of its size, but it's literally like twice the size of a Brute. No lie. You'd have to see it to believe it. A Infector, because it has like this long proboscis thing that Infectors had to infect the corpses of dead people to make them necromorphs, but it doesn't do that. Instead he stabs you with it. And a Drag Tentacle, because he drags you along the ground and you have to shoot and kill his weak spot to send him away. And when you send him away, he just kind of like walks up the walls like it's no problem and just disappears. He is huge. When I first saw him, I shat my pants. I was like, what is that? So those are the new enemies you see, and The puker was definitely unexpected. Those babies creeped the shit out of me, and that second enemy, that giant, I don't even know what to call it. I guess I'd call it the dragger, but we already have the drag tentacles. Um, so I wouldn't really know what to call this new enemy. He was just creepy. I mean, all the while he's dragging, he's trying to like stab you with that proboscis, but Isaac keeps like bobbing his head side to side to avoid getting you know skull raped by that proboscis. Um, so those are the new enemies, and there's other new things I will explain about this demo, but I'm running short on time. I did receive a message on my uploader saying my channel could now upload videos up to 15 minutes in length, but I do not want to risk that for this video and have to redo it all over again. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video now, and I will do the next part right away.